Good morning to all of you in Australasia. And today we're going to talk about Manna C. So looking at the benefits of the Manna C product, it looks like this is a pretty good set of benefits claims for Australasia. They are different in the United States and Canada and so on, but this is a pretty good set of claims. But what I'm going to do today is what I typically do for you folks, and that is I'm going to actually go through the ingredients of the product and talk about why these ingredients really make this a super product for its purpose. Before I get started on the details, I need to clear something up. Now, why did the inventor of this formula, which was not me, and I've made more than 160 formulas in my career, but this is not mine, not this one. Why did the inventor of this formula decide to call this Manna C? To tell you the truth, I don't have a clue. I absolutely don't know. Because this product has very little to do with vitamin C. There is vitamin C in it, of course, but it really has very little to do with that. Well, the problem with the naming of this as Manna C is that the overwhelming majority of associates who don't read labels and don't come to my trainings think that this is a vitamin C supplement, because it's got the letter C after it. Well, if you read the label and you understand the trainings and you understand that this is not a vitamin C supplement, it never was intended for that purpose. It is a nasal and sinus health product. That is the way I've always trained on this product. That is the way it was talked about when it was initially launched in the US, and so on. So this is a nasal and sinus health product, which is why I suggested that we talk about Manna C at this particular time of the year in Australasia. This is a great time to be talking about sinus health and nasal issues, isn't it? Sure, of course. So for those of you who've been buying Manna C thinking it is a vitamin C supplement, well, stop it, because that's not what it is. In fact, the highest content of vitamin C in any Mannatech product is in Catalyst. Depending on age and gender, the minimum requirement of vitamin C daily will be between 60 milligrams and 90 milligrams, 60 to 90 milligrams. This product has 54. It is clearly not a vitamin C supplement. Okay, so everybody get that out of the way, and let's talk about what this product really is. This product is a nasal and sinus health supplement, and a darn good one. I'll tell you what, you've got a really powerful product in Manna C. As of today, you will know, and then it will be up to you to correctly direct other people so that they know what this product is really for. Okay? Well, let's go down the list of ingredients. There's so many ingredients. So alphabetically, the first thing that you would see on the label, so these are not in order of how much, how many milligrams, and so I'm just doing alphabetically. So aloe vera inner leaf gel powder. When you see those words, what it really means is Mannapol. Mannapol is Mannatech's exclusive, incredibly powerful mannose from aloe. There is no other mannose from aloe that can even begin to compare with this. In fact, some of you may have seen, and I know that these videos I'm about to mention are still on Facebook. So I did a series of videos when I was recently down at our grower and manufacturer in Costa Rica. And what I did with these series of videos, they were like little snippets as I was in different parts between the nursery, the farm, the various aspects of the manufacturing facility. And I was doing little videos trying to sort of take you with me through the process so you could see it, and feel it, and understand it. Okay? And those apparently have been getting a whole lot of views. As I say, they're on Facebook. They're also on the, I think the Mannatech main page And one of the things I talked about on that was the exclusivity of Manopole and how tremendously powerful Manopole is versus other mannose from aloe products. Now, mannose is the functional component in aloe vera that makes aloe vera do what aloe vera does. And with this in mind, you want the most powerful one you can get. Our exclusive process, no one else on the planet does it. Now, if you did watch that series of videos, what you saw is my announcement that we are not just over 1 million Daltons. Our process is getting so good. I mean, it just gets better and better every year with Manopole. It's getting so good that we are now yielding a steady 2.6 million Daltons atomic weight of our mannose from aloe. That is just astounding. In order to be qualified as Ace Mannan, which is the sort of technical name for the mannose from aloe, you have to have an atomic weight of at least 1 million Daltons, and we are now at 2.6 million. Nobody can touch us. I mean, every single mannose product on the planet pales by comparison to us. So for that reason alone, you have got something tremendous for immune support. And obviously, in a nasal and sinus health product, well, immune support has to be a big factor in that, doesn't it? Now, our Manopole also contains galacturonic acid, glucuronic acid, galactose, arabinose, fucose, glucosamine, fructose, rhamnose, and xylose. All of those other glyconutrients, or scientifically known as glycans, are in the Manopole product. So whenever you see aloe vera inner leaf gel powder, it's Manopole. Now, the next thing you'll see on the label is something called arabinogalactan. We use the premium form of arabinogalactan, and we are the only company on planet Earth that uses the premium form of arabinogalactan because we have an exclusive legal agreement with the only company on planet Earth that makes arabinogalactan. Now, they sell a standard, lower grade, weaker product to anybody who wants to buy it, but their super high grade product, which has been scientifically tested in human study for its immunomodulatory effect, and it's powerful. And in fact, the human studies on premium form arabinogalactan, which is trademarked by Mannatech as AmbroGuard, that premium form, its human testing was actually for influenza. And it did much better than anything else that they did in these tests. Arabinogalactan, the premium form, was tested with human volunteers during flu season, and the results were tremendous. So here's item number 2 that's going to be tremendous for immune support, especially at this time of the year. So arabinogalactan. And of course, arabinogalactan, the premium form, only Mannatech has that. It comes from a tree which is called the Western larch tree that grows in North America. Okay, so, and it's an old Native American cure. So it also contains galactose, arabinose, and mannose in this, and it's tremendous. So Manopole as well as AmbroGuard, those two things combined, wow. And AmbroGuard in the randomized human double-blind placebo control multi-dose trial concluded that a dose of 1.5 grams a day of this premium form of arabinogalactan can significantly increase the IgG antibody response to tetanus vaccine and flu vaccine and so on and so forth. So IgG, by the way, that's the immunoglobulin. Your body makes a number of immunoglobulins. And the one that you want to really pump up during this time of the year is IgG, because IgG is the most important one throughout the body and found in all the fluids of the body, and including mucus and obviously things going on in the nasal passages and so on. You want to pump up that IgG. So AmbroGuard is really, really good for that. And again, proven, validated in human double-blind placebo-controlled study. So that's pretty darn cool. Well, now let's talk about the herbals in Manna C, because this really is primarily an herbal supplement. Again, I'll attempt to stay alphabetical. I hope I do. Bone set. Now, bone set, that sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Well, it's actually a flower that grows in the eastern part of North America. And the early American settlers, who knows who the person was that initially discovered it, but starting back in the 1600s, the early American settlers were using bone set. Now we know that this is a plant that contains glyconutrients. It also contains phytosterols or plant sterols, and it contains flavonoids. Now, there are two important flavonoids that are found in it. One is called quercetin, and the other one is called rutin. Now, if you're having problems with all that stuff that goes on in your nasal passages when you're, during this time of the year, well, then you really can benefit from the extra rutin, especially you can benefit from that. The traditional use of bone set is actually for flu and for bronchitis. There are also a number of documented incidents where people have used bone set to help them with something that does occur in Southeast Asia, dengue fever. And it's been used also traditionally with pneumonia. And interestingly enough, for joint pain. So bone set is a pretty interesting herbal to put in this product. Now, it does have some other benefits. So, generally I would say for cold and flu, bone set. I mean, that's just kind of simple. Okay, that's what you want to do. Now, the next ingredient's kind of funny to talk about it. And I say this because I have images in my mind right now that you may go to watch later. And this is catnip. Now, if you want to really be entertained, and I mean just, wholesome entertainment where there's nothing terrible happening, just watch a video of a cat that has consumed some catnip. That is really entertaining. What it does to cats is just, I can't help but chuckle with these images I have in my mind. I have no doubt that there are probably lots of videos on YouTube that show cats who have eaten catnip, and it makes them act quite bizarre. It doesn't hurt them in any way, shape, or form. It does not harm them, but it does make them act quite bizarre. Now, you might say, well, if it does that to a cat, is it safe for me? Well, for those of you who say that, I would say to you, you may have noticed that people and cats are different. And we have very different biology. And so what affects a cat one way may affect a human another way. It's very interesting that this was first reported, so I can't document if it was the very first time ever used, but first reported by ancient people in the country of Kazakhstan. And in Kazakhstan, it has been used traditionally as an herbal tea. And it has a number of, the people of Kazakhstan will tell you all kinds of benefits that it has. Well, let's talk about the things that we can talk about, that makes sense. It has been used, and I think was initially used by the people of Kazakhstan as a remedy for insomnia. And it can help a lot of people with their sleep and anxiety and sort of general nervousness. It has been used for migraines, or I think you say migraines down there. But what's important is that it was discovered early on by people that it was really helpful for upper respiratory stuff, cold and flu. And you'll find even very trusted medical sites that will tell you that catnip can be used for flu and cold and all the related stuff with that. There are reports, and I can't confirm this, that so I just say this because you may look it up, and without confirmation, I can't possibly say, yeah, this is a definite thing. There are reports that it's been good for various types of inflammation, but I can't confirm that. And so I'm not even going to make that recommendation. I'm just saying, if you look that up, if you find that, I don't know about that. Okay. But I can tell you for sure that as an agent to help you with insomnia and anxiety and cold and flu, catnip is just super for human beings. Bizarre for cats, but super for humans. So cold, flu, fever, hives, upset stomach, sometimes flatulence. If you're having difficulty urinating completely, okay, this may sometimes help in that. I've seen that when I was in practice. It has been used traditionally for young girls in the beginning of their menstruation, and for the various discomfort that may occur in that area. So, catnip, pretty interesting, huh? Well, next thing on the list would be, and I know this sounds weird, okay, but it's called horehound. And you may also find it listed as white horehound. But generally, herbalists just call it horehound. Well, it's a pretty interesting, again, another herbal that's just pretty darn interesting. And this is something that's been used for a very, very long time in Europe as well as Asia. And in fact, there is written evidence that it was used in ancient Egypt. And we have traditional evidence that's handed down through the spoken word of Native Americans using it, and also Australian Aborigines using it. So horehounds really made the rounds of the world, and it's been used quite a bit. Now, it's by gram weight, it's pretty high in vitamin C, but it contains a number of other phytochemicals, alkaloids, flavonoids, sterols, and even tannins. So this is something that has a lot of possible applications because of that. Well, what do we know that we can document about this? Well, obviously, you know what I'm going to say, for the cold and flu season. It has been used even for cough. In fact, a lot of herbalists and a lot of ancient practitioners have used this to help with coughing. It also has been shown in a number of different studies to be good for indigestion and bloating, and sometimes bowel regularity. So it's got a lot of important uses, upper respiratory stuff, and cough. So now we're putting this together. We've got stuff that's going to help you general cold and flu, generally with raising IgG, and of course in mucus. You will find the healthy body is producing a lot of IgG that goes into mucus. And of course, that's very, very important and very helpful to your immune system during the cold and flu season. Now, those of you, when I started this call, those of you who thought this was a vitamin C supplement, you're getting a whole different idea now, aren't you? At least I hope you are. All right, next on the list, we'll go to lemon verbena. Now, lemon verbena is, you can make a tea from the leaves. There are some cultures that actually make an oil. They take the leaves and they crush the leaves very, very tightly to get the oil out of it, and make an oil that they ingest orally as well. Now, this primarily has been used for digestive disorders, indigestion, gas, diarrhea, constipation, that kind of thing, traditionally. But it's also been used extensively by traditional practitioners for upper respiratory issues and colds and flu and sinus, and of course fever as well. So all of those things. So this is why the lemon verbena was put into this product. If you kind of run down the list, you'll find that I'm sure you can go to websites that'll say it's used for anxiety. And again, I don't have solid evidence of that, so I'm not even going to talk about that. So, be cautious when you go to the other websites. Try and stay with the information that we give you here, so you know that what we give you is solid. That we've done our research, and we're talking about things that we know are very solid for you. All right, as we continue down the list, we come to peppermint leaf. Now, of course, when I say peppermint, you think about the flavor and using it as a flavoring, as a spice, if you will. And traditionally, the average person who wants to do home remedies thinks of peppermint oil, particularly peppermint oil, as something for indigestion, for upset stomach. And of course, it is good for that. By the way, peppermint oil is also one of your best things that you can do to help you if you have chronic bad breath. And now, for individuals who have chronic bad breath because of their dental hygiene, this is not going to help, okay? But a lot of people will have chronic bad breath that originates in their stomach. It just keeps coming up all the time. And these are individuals who may have a hernia, for instance, at the top of their stomach. There's a sphincter muscle at the top of your stomach that some people have a problem with that. They have acid reflux, all that. And so peppermint leaf and peppermint oil can be extremely helpful. It's totally, completely safe, and it almost completely, I should say, neutralizes that odor that comes up. So that's a little sidebar for you. That has nothing to do with this product. But so why do we put peppermint leaf in here? Well, peppermint leaf obviously contains menthol, and right away that should light the light bulb up for all of you. Menthol, oh yeah, menthol. That's what my grandmother used when I had cold and flu, to help me with my breathing, to help me with my sinuses. Breathe in that menthol, absolutely. And of course, there's carotene in here, which is good for your immune system, and tocopherols and flavonoids and polyphenols, which are very good for your immune system as well. And for the inflammatory factors that are associated with the nasal issues. So here you've got something in peppermint leaf that obviously has a whole lot of benefits. Well, if you look at as I mentioned, most of the information you'll find on peppermint in general is either going to be as a flavoring or as something for the stomach, for heartburn, nausea, vomiting, morning sickness, any of those things. It has been used safely in all of those areas. But for the common cold, believe it or not, the most frequent use of peppermint by traditional practitioners around the world has actually been for cold and cough, and of course, sinus. So those things, again, so why would you want to use peppermint? Well, that's why. And are there other things that you'll find if you try and look around? Yeah, sure. You're going to find lots of stuff about peppermint, besides the fact that it's extremely safe. And for some people, it helps with their bowel issues and so on. But it's in this formula for cold, cough, sinus. Okay, that's why it's there. And if you kind of run down the list, you're going to find a number of things that you may find interesting, but I don't want to talk about stuff we can't document. And before I forget, catnip. There's a warning on the label, and I think it's in every country. I may be wrong, but it should be in every country, that says do not take this product if you're pregnant. And the reason for that is the catnip. There are some preliminary studies that indicate that catnip might, it's not definite, it's not irrefutably proven, but that catnip might be bad for a fetus. So because there is any even tiny, tiny doubt, we put the warning on the label. So if you're pregnant, you're going to have to find a different way to take care of your nasal and sinus health issues, okay? Because this is not for you. Also, we don't have the warning on this as far as I know. There is some data that indicates that it is possibly, maybe, a problem for very small children. Now, that's not confirmed either, but I always like to be very, very safe. You know, if there's any doubt in my mind, I just say don't do it, okay? For adults, not a problem. There's nothing in here that's a problem for any adult, except, of course, for pregnant women. We want to avoid using this because of the catnip in it, okay? So, yeah, and as I mentioned, you're going to find all kinds of stuff about peppermint. Yes, peppermint does help people with heartburn and all that kind of thing, but that won't be the case in this formula. That peppermint's going to get used up for the sinuses, so that's pretty much the way that one's going to go for you. Okay, back on track. Talk about sage. Now, sage is an herb which has been used as a spice primarily for centuries on the European continent. So it's very common there as a spice. And of course, it's used around the world as a spice now. But, you know, for centuries, it was only in Europe. And you can find there are tinctures made from this, and various extracts and oils are made from it, you know, by crushing the leaf intensely to get the oil out of it. Well, what's in it? What makes it good? Well, there are polyphenols. Again, the polyphenols are antioxidant compounds, many of which also have anti-inflammatory properties. It contains bioflavonoids, which of course is very good as antioxidant and immune support. Beta-carotene, which is pro-vitamin A, and that means that when you consume beta-carotene, your body decides if it needs some vitamin A, it will then turn that beta-carotene into vitamin A. If it doesn't need extra vitamin A that day, it won't do it. So beta-carotene is very safe in that respect. And of course, it has one of the vitamin E tocopherols, which is alpha tocopherol, and that obviously can be very good as well. All right, so what can we say about sage as an ingredient? Well, besides being a spice, which is pretty common, as an herbal, if you're an herbologist, if you're a naturopath, if you're a traditional practitioner, you're going to look at sage for things like flatulence and stomach pain and diarrhea, bloating, heartburn. That'll probably be the first things that you'll look at this. There's also very good data out there that tells us that sage has a positive effect on the brain. Now, we don't make any brain claims on this product, so don't you do that, okay? It's very important that you stay compliant in each of the markets you work in. But this is a training call, so I'm trying to give you the, every little thing so you understand this. So you might look up sage and you might find some really interesting information, and I'm talking good information, not speculation, but really good information about how sage might improve your mood, as an example, might improve your memory, as an example. So the list kind of goes on with that. So yeah, you'll probably find some stuff about sage and the brain as well. It's also been used, and you may find this on various websites that deal with things for women's herbology and women's needs. You might find information about sage and hot flashes, or sage and the symptoms of menopause, that kind of stuff. But why did we put sage in this formula? Obviously not for those reasons, because this is a nasal and sinus health formula. So we put this in because there's good data out there that shows us that this can help to support upper respiratory stuff, which obviously happens with nasal issues, right? And it helps with the swelling that you experience when you have a nasal or sinus problem, because you want to get that swelling down, don't you? Of course. So that's the main thing, and you're going to find other stuff with it too, like it's good for the health of your gums and that kind of stuff, and it is. But it's here in this formula for the purpose in this formula. It is here to help you with the swelling that you may experience during a sinus and nasal health episode. How's that? I'm trying to avoid saying a disease because we don't want to, or a medical diagnosis. We want to avoid those things. So that's why the sage is in this product. And that's pretty interesting, this particular selection. Now, there's vitamin C in here. Again, there's not enough vitamin C to even meet your minimum daily requirement. If you want vitamin C as a supplement to your health, take Catalyst. Catalyst in most markets, and we do have some variations by country because of this rule and that rule. It makes me crazy with that stuff, because all human beings are human beings, for God's sakes, and I want you all to have the same stuff. But anyway, 180 milligrams vitamin C per 2 tablets of Catalyst. Remember, your daily requirement for vitamin C, depending on your age and your gender, men always need more than women. You will find that your requirement is going to be at least 60 milligrams a day and as much as 90 milligrams a day. And when I made Catalyst, I put 180 milligrams of vitamin C per 2 tablets. So you take your 4 tablets per day, you've got 360 milligrams of vitamin C. Now, folks, that's a vitamin C supplement, okay? Manna C is not a vitamin C supplement. Catalyst is. You're just getting a ton of vitamin C in Catalyst. So, if that's what you've been buying Manna C for, well, switch over to Catalyst and you'll get better results, okay? So the vitamin C that we're using in Manna C is a combination of acerola cherry, which acerola cherry is a common fruit in the tropical regions of the Americas. Primarily Brazil is where we harvest most of it. And we also have vitamin C from the Australian wild bush plum. And of course, you folks know that comes from northwestern Australia. So this vitamin C, and by the way, let's clarify something else here. Sometimes people think I'm raining on their parade because I want to tell them facts, okay? Well, you need to have facts, folks. I know that stories sell. I get it. I understand it. But I want you to have accurate facts. Folks, it really doesn't matter what your source of vitamin C is. It actually does not matter. Because the vitamin C molecule in acerola cherry and the vitamin C molecule in the Australian bush plum is exactly, precisely identical. There's no difference. Well, why did we do what we did with the Australian bush plum? Our first chief of science thought it was a pretty interesting story, and he found an opportunity to try and help the Australian Aborigines monetarily there as well, because this stuff is harvested on their land. So, but the stuff about there's more vitamin C by gram weight in a bush plum than there is in acerola cherry, that's a true statement. It's absolutely true. But why would that matter? If you're going to have 54 milligrams of vitamin C in the product, why would it matter if there's more in bush plum than there is in acerola cherry? It doesn't matter at all. And the molecules are precisely, exactly identical. So no difference whatsoever. The function is absolutely the same. Now, one of the reasons I let you know that is because a day may come when we only have vitamin C, say, from acerola cherry, because acerola cherry is in tremendous supply and bush plum is not. And, if the company grows to the level that I hope that we will grow to, there won't be enough bush plum. But we're not going to run short of acerola cherry. That's pretty much a certainty. We're not going to run short of that one. So why is the vitamin C in this formula? Obviously not as a vitamin C supplement. Obviously not. Why is it there? Well, when you have a sinus reaction, you're producing something called mast cells. Vitamin C is absolutely critical in the process of stopping a histamine reaction. Now, folks, you can't, and again, this is a training, not an advertisement, okay? And you cannot say this is an antihistamine, okay? So listen to the way I say this for you. Vitamin C is critical in stopping histamine reactions, okay? So that's why the vitamin C is there. That's the only reason it's there. Now, vitamin C, of course, is very good for your immune system, naturally, but it was put in this product for the purpose of histamine reactions. That's why it's there. And so with that in mind, I mean, gosh, entire books, huge books have been written on vitamin C. There's so much data on there about how vitamin C is, helpful for so many aspects, not just of your immune system, but, for your joints. And I mean, the list goes on. We could spend 2 hours on vitamin C. But understand, the amount that's there is on purpose. That ratio to the herbals, that ratio is important. That's what we tested to get our best nasal and sinus health response. Okay, so that's what that's all about. All right, so carrying on, getting to a yarrow. A yarrow is another plant, and so as I said, this is primarily an herbal supplement. And a yarrow is another plant, and this was common only to ancient Greece. This is one of those plants that was used in the earliest references in ancient Greece for helping with human health. And now, of course, yarrow is all over the world, but it contains polyphenols. Once again, those are antioxidants. Polyphenols often help with inflammation as well. Think about your nose being sort of stuffed up and inflamed, if you will, okay? And of course, it contains flavonoids, which again are antioxidants. And if you have more flavonoid during a given, say, 4 to 6 hour period than your body requires, then it will cause your urine to get a little more yellow than normal. Now, that doesn't mean that you didn't absorb something. It means that you had more than you needed to absorb during a given 4 to 6 hour period. Understand, there's a difference there, a pretty significant difference. Now, yarrow is something which has been traditionally used to help with diarrhea, gas, bloating, various kinds of stomach issues. That's pretty much the traditional use of the product, or of the ingredient, I should say. However, if you consult your traditional naturopath and herbalist and traditional practitioners, regardless of what label they wear, you're going to find that they're going to recommend yarrow for fever and cold and hay fever and things which are sinus related to help with those symptoms. So that's what yarrow is about. So now you're getting a pretty strong picture of what we've got going on here. We've used this tremendous combination of things which are specifically for immune support and things which have various functions involved with sinus and nasal health. Now, I didn't speak about the other two plant sources, which I suppose I should get to for everyone since we have a little bit of time left. So you'll see on so many Mannatech products, you will see gum gatti and gum tragacanth. Well, both of these are plant gums. There's a lot of plant gums that are rich in glyconutrients, or once again, what scientists call glycans. And you may see literature that says polysaccharides. So a plant saccharide, poly simply means many. Okay, so what that means is you have a more complex, longer molecule of the saccharides when they say polysaccharide. Now, in gum gatti, there are various glyconutrients. There's arabinose, galactose, mannose, xylose, and glucuronic acid. All of those in gum gatti, and we use gum gatti as a source for some of the glyconutrients in our ambertose product. And this is why on a lot of Mannatech products you will see gum gatti and gum tragacanth. Well, gum tragacanth actually comes from a flowering plant which is called astragalus. Now, many herbalists use astragalus on a regular basis, and astragalus is great for immune support, and it is great for immune support because it contains so many glyconutrients. It contains galactose and arabinose and xylose, fucose, not to be confused with fructose, this is fucose, rhamnose, and galacturonic acid. All of those are contained in the herbal called astragalus. And the technical name for the gum from astragalus is gum tragacanth. So that's what those are about. Now, of course, this product is also a product which meets our current direction in marketing, although this is not one of our newer products. It is gluten-free. It's naturally gluten-free, of course. It is suitable for vegetarians and suitable for vegans. It is obviously free from dairy, and there are no artificial preservatives, colors, any of that stuff in it. So this is really good. And you should think about taking your Manna C twice daily to help you with your nasal and sinus health. Okay? So I keep saying that because I was talking one day with our CEO, Al Bala, and I said to him, can we please change the name of Manna C to something that denotes what it is and what it's actually for? And he said to me, oh, I think all the associates know it's for your sinuses. And I said, trust me, they don't. They don't. Because I've been doing this for a quarter of a century and, 24 years, almost a quarter of a century. And I know what our associates think Manna C is, and they don't realize what the product is. Now, all of you folks know it's for nasal and sinus health. And if you want vitamin C supplementation, you've got Catalyst right there in Australasia. 360 milligrams of vitamin C per day. If you take it as directed, that's huge, since your body only requires between 60 and 90 milligrams per day. Now, of course, during cold and flu season, you might want to bump that up anyway. So if you're already taking Catalyst, you're in pretty darn good shape with that. So that's an overview. There's just a tiny bit of time left in our hour, but that's an overview of Manna C, Mannatech's proprietary nasal and sinus health product.